name is Tanya Davis, and I am a student and family advocate at Mercer Middle School on Beacon Hill in Seattle, Washington.
I'm Desiree Tabaris, and I am the director of the Community Learning Center here at Mercer, but I work for Parks and Recreation. So in the capacity that I worked with Ijo Wakoma, we really focused in on our out-of-school time activities. One of the largest programs that we have here is really making sure that we have enrichment programs that also kind of match our academic programs. So we don't want kids to have an unbalance one way or the other. It's really important for us to expose students to different opportunities, and that's what Ijo brought to us. So he worked in different capacities with multimedia, so offering photography classes, video production classes, helping to bring in community members that would help us with creative writing, poetry, and using all of that in that after-school time. We also were able to expose our teachers to the talents that he brought in helping to connect kids with those resources, and we were able to bring him in during the school year or during the school day also, where if students had a different method of being able to show projects. So they were able to incorporate video production into what would normally be a just a three-panel project. They were able to do it and bring it to life. So I think that the benefit of having Ijo here is that he is able to bring the outside community into the world of Mercer. Many of our students come from immigrant families, refugee families, and they haven't always had the exposure, the access to all the different media outlets that he's able to bring, and that's really important for them. And I think that it sometimes can be brought in and can be really overwhelming, but Ijo didn't do that. What he was able to do was make it really real for them and allow students to connect. So we had quite a few different students that not only did they want to just be in his class after school, they wanted to find out if he was doing something out in the community and how they could continue to connect with what he did and what he brought, because they felt like he was a real person. He was somebody that understood where they were coming from, but said, hey, you know what? You can move farther. There's so much that you can do, and it is possible, and that's huge. When we bring in contractors into the school, it's really important that we bring somebody that isn't just going to pop in and then disappear, because that happens all too often in communities, and he doesn't. He brings a sense of stability and a sense of friendship and a sense of mentorship, and I think that it's more than just a video production class or more than just a photography class. It's much more. It really is a lesson in what it means to be a part of your community and to be able to make connections.
I worked with Ijo Wakoma several years, starting in 2006 when I was in the role of the Gear Up coordinator. And what I did in that position is that I connected students with the world of higher education, and so really focusing on early college readiness. And I also worked with the AVID program, which really supported the Gear Up program. So it got students connected with the ideas behind how to be successful, so time management and how to set goals. And Ijo came in while I was working with the Gear Up and AVID program as a contractor, and what we worked on together was creating a literary magazine which had students' artwork and students' writing and reflections, called The Edge magazine, and that took place in connection with the AVID class as well as with language arts teachers. So that was a partnership across departments. And then also there was an after-school piece where we worked with the CLC with an Edge magazine piece that was after school. And basically Ijo set up the magazine. He connected with students. He helped them with kind of generating ideas and just how to tap into their creativity. And that was the start of something really big. We had another Edge magazine that started the next year, and that was connected with a project that Ijo brought to us that was focusing on Hurricane Katrina. And students had been talking about, this event, and we just thought it would be a good opportunity to get the kids involved in a way for them to utilize what they were learning in school to connect with real world experiences. And so Ijo worked with our science teacher, he worked with the AVID teacher, and he also worked with the language arts teacher. And so students really took a really kind of 360-degree look at, this a catastrophic occurrence, and what is the science behind that? What are some of their thoughts behind it? They wrote about it. They hosted guests here who had been impacted by Hurricane Katrina, and they also created signs and made projects and did lots of things that were centered around that in class. And so math kind of took on a new meaning, science took on a new meaning, language arts took on a new meaning. And they learned about media, and they learned how they could use that as a tool to express their ideas and how to get the truth out about events, because a lot behind Hurricane Katrina, a lot of the things that were in the media weren't necessarily the truth at that time. They learned that they could see themselves reflected in a lot of the people that were impacted there, and that impacted them and made them want to act. And Inye gave them the tools to be able to act on, whatever they were feeling, whether it be on paper, whether it be to come up with projects and to get the information out to the community. Those students were then able to travel to New Orleans, Louisiana, and implement a service project there and work side by side with Hands On New Orleans and plant sunflowers there and learn why that was important and how that impacted the soil and impacted the air, and also all of the things that they had learned about here in science. They could actually put their hands in the soil. They could actually see the plants that were being replanted there. They rode on airboats and saw the creatures that were impacted. So they really were able to take what they learned in the classroom and actually take it out into the world and learn more, and also bring what they learned. And Inye was just a huge part of making that happen. And I think that project was probably a hallmark of our Gear Up and Avid program over the 3 years that it was here at Mercer Middle School.
So working in a school, and also for myself working in a bureaucracy, there's a lot of paperwork that's involved. There's a lot of contracts, there's a lot of invoicing, there's a lot of attendance that needs to be taken on the student side. There's a lot of targets and benchmarks that we have to make. And I think it was really great to be able to work with Inye, because he just sort of slid right into that process. Not only was he timely in making sure that all the paperwork and all the contracts were available when we needed them, but he also exposed us to grants that we wouldn't have necessarily have known. So he opened the door to more funding for us, was able to see dots that were out there and connect them for us. And I think that that's really beneficial when we work within pretty strong constraints where it's hard for us to be able to, walk out of the bureaucracy of the school district or so on. And he was able to open that for us, and I think that that's important. It's great for our students because it offers us just more resources. And in a school where resources can be often tricky and often tied to so many other benchmarks, it really was a sigh of relief, I think. At least I know it was for me in being able to be exposed to that.